Good morning! Welcome back to EDSEC on the Air. Today we're joined by Annie Booth, an expert on standardized testing and its effects on schools.
Hi, I'm so glad to be here.
So you know what's what when it comes to these tests. What can you tell us?
Well, Ian, what is there to know? Surely you've experienced a standardized test yourself. I mean, what elementary school child hasn't had to go through the agony of sitting in a silent classroom for hours at a time, working on a standardized test? Surely all of you listening at home have. It has become a given of life. Death, taxes, and standardized testing.
Exactly. Who wouldn't remember how deadly serious test day is? The proctor staring at you, the ticking of the clock, the collecting of the tests in alphabetical order? But why? What was so important about these tests? Can you elaborate?
Well, sure. Let's go over the basics. The world today, we use test scores to compete. Test scores in the international level are almost treated like academic Olympics, where America has to vie and be the best of all other countries. However, unlike the Olympics where the best of the best are sent, the test scores represent the average of American students, and while America has some of the highest scores in the world, it also has a large bottom that takes that average down.
Wow, I had no idea. But now you've got me thinking, if we have poor scores, what does America do to increase them? How can we possibly get over that hurdle?
This is where it gets tricky. Many government programs have been put in place to try to increase America's test scores. No Child Left Behind and Race to the Top both interfere with schools who don't progress fast enough. According to an article on the Washington Post website on this topic, such testing mandates were coupled with a no-excuse management push by school reformers who said teachers had, no excuse not to raise their students' test scores. Under the jurisdiction of these programs, schools that didn't progress fast enough had a new curriculum created, teachers replaced, and state monitoring the classroom. After all this reform, all teachers wanted to do was protect their students by trying their hardest not to let anything interrupt their classroom.
I've always got the impression that teachers are always trying to do their best, but always have their wings clipped by the shortage of resources. It's like being asked to paint a mural with only one can of paint. What's happening to these teachers? How are they protecting their students?
Unfortunately, cheating. Many teachers have been investigated for helping students cheat on standardized tests. In a New York elementary school, a successful school principal committed suicide after being convicted of helping students cheat on a test. Her school was struggling for funding under the performance-based programs. She wrote to a friend that she wrote in answers because some of the students had not completed their tests, and then committed suicide a week later, knowing that her reputation had been ruined.
How horrible! I'm so sorry to hear that. I've seen similar scandals in the news where entire schools would fill in answers on tests just to try to keep their funding.
And that's just the thing. To teachers in low-income schools, filling in answers, emphasizing certain words, and answering students' questions during testing time has become almost necessary to make sure students are getting a proper education. Without the government funding, low-income schools become less and less functional until they are shut down completely. These education reforms are not reforms at all, but unnecessary changes that only make schools a harder place to learn.
On that note, that's about all the time we have. I hope you all really listen in today and have a better grasp on the situation. With that, this is Ian Gonzalez, signing off for EDSEC on the Air.